Any farmer would know the nook and corner of their second home, their fields. However, there have been instances when the farmers are left surprised and unsettled by what they found in their meadows and pasture lands, and some of it is just terrifying. This became the case of an American farmer who saw a horrendous creature lurking in his fields, hoping to feed on livestock. In the blink of an eye, the dog-like monster disappeared. Before we jump into how an American farmer found something impossible on his property, let's take a look at similar instances of horror. Number 19. Chinese farmer finds rare spider. Back in 2016, a farmer named Li Wenhua was going about his usual work in his orange orchard in China when something unusual caught his eye. There, partially buried in the ground, lay an object that looked uncannily like an ancient seal. Intrigued and hopeful it might be worth something, Li decided to carefully unearth it. Li expected that he had perhaps stumbled upon an ancient relic that would go at a good price in a Chinese market. However, once he'd cleared away the soil, he discovered the strange object wasn't just a trinket. It was attached to a spider's body, a type he'd never seen before. What was even more startling was that this spider stayed perfectly still, not moving an inch as he worked to pull it free. Taking it home with curiosity and a bit of caution, Li kept the odd spider carefully until, unexpectedly, it came back to life, prompting him to release it back into the wild. While the farmer was excited, he knew he couldn't keep this beast at his home. Later, Li would learn that he'd stumbled upon a species called Cyclocosmia, commonly known as the trapdoor spider, one of the oldest living arachnid species on Earth. Known for its unique anatomy, this spider has a truncated abdomen that ends in a hard, disc-like surface, closely resembling an ancient seal. When in danger, Cyclocosmia will burrow quickly and seal off its tunnel entrance with this hardened abdomen, a feature that earned it the trapdoor moniker. This species has roots going back 100 million years and can still be found in places like the United States, Thailand, and China. If only Li had kept the spider, he could have given it to a wildlife conservatory for research purposes. But oh well. Li's quick thinking kept him and his family safe, at least. Number 18. The secret discovery. In 2018, another farmer, this time from L'Île-en-Dodon, France, made his own incredible discovery. He reached out to the Toulouse Museum of Natural History to report an unusual find: the massive skull of an ancient animal that he'd unearthed on his land 4 years earlier. At the time, he'd chosen to keep it quiet, fearing his property would become an excavation site. But eventually, he couldn't keep it a secret any longer. When a team of paleontologists arrived to examine the skull, they confirmed it was the only complete skull of a Pyrenean mastodon, a prehistoric relative of today's elephants. Measuring roughly 160 centimeters in length and thought to be 12 million years old. This skull offered scientists the first physical evidence of the Pyrenean mastodon's existence, sparking excitement across the paleontological community. The museum curator, Pierre Dalus, had thanked the farmer for putting a face to the mythical creature. Later, the farmer also allowed a team of scientists to excavate his land further. Unfortunately, even the deep excavation didn't help with finding the rest of the skeleton. Number 17. Egg within an egg. Meanwhile, nature sometimes delivers surprises that even experienced farmers find astonishing. In China, a farmer recently discovered an enormous egg among his chickens' usual offerings. To his amazement, a smaller, fully formed egg was nestled inside. Though skeptics questioned the video's authenticity, biologists later explained it as a rare phenomenon caused by a premature egg forming within the hen. This extraordinary discovery unfolded right in front of a news camera after the farmer from Qinhuangdao City in northeastern China reached out to a reporter to investigate. Speaking to the station, the farmer shared, "In over 60 years of farming, I've never seen an egg within another egg." While this phenomenon is rare, it's not the first time an oversized egg with a smaller one inside has been documented. According to an expert, though quite rare, it is well known that occasionally a hen will lay an egg inside of an egg. Experts explain that this is caused by what's known as a counterperistalsis contraction, which happens when a hen's oviduct begins forming a second egg before the first one is completely laid. Cool, right? Number 16. Brazilian farmer's shocking discovery. In 2009, a farmer was navigating his tractor through a cornfield in southern Brazil when he suddenly felt the vehicle sink and tilt to one side, causing it to come to an abrupt stop. Leaping out of the tractor, he discovered that one of the wheels had plunged deep into the parched earth. To his surprise, the tractor had broken through the surface of what appeared to be an underground tunnel. Intrigued by this unusual discovery, researchers were called in to investigate. They were taken aback to find a tunnel measuring nearly 2 meters in height, almost 2 meters wide, and extending about 15 meters in length, running beneath the field and right underneath the farmer's house. Deep claw marks, etched into the walls of the tunnel, indicated that its previous occupant was certainly not human. As investigators examined the site, they found that the tunnel had been carved out by a now extinct giant sloth, known as Mylodon. These massive plant-eating creatures once roamed South America over 10,000 years ago and created extensive burrows in the earth. Reaching up to 4 meters in length and weighing nearly 2 tons, Mylodon was an imposing species that feasted on grass and leaves until climate change and Paleo-Indian hunters led to its extinction. However, there's an alternative theory for the mysterious tunnels too. For many years, both locals and researchers speculated that the tunnels had been created by ancient civilizations, with the deep claw marks believed to be the result of pickaxes. Some of these paleo burrows even feature rock art, like the Toca do Tatu, or Armadillo Burrow, located in the state of Santa Catarina. This site showcases engravings of a sun with rays emanating outward, along with groups of triangles that likely symbolize mountains. However, because the art is etched into the rock rather than painted, determining its age is nearly impossible. As a result, the true origin of the rock carvings and their meanings remain a mystery. Number 15. Bulgarian farmer's amazing find. The streak of surprising finds continued in 2023 when a Bulgarian farmer plowing his field in Novaya Vovka uncovered 2 ancient graves. Realizing he'd found something significant, he immediately alerted archaeologists, who started excavations the following day. The region, once part of the Roman province of Moesia, had long been known to hold remnants of history. Inside the graves, researchers uncovered the remains of a Roman family, 2 adults and a young child, along with coins, pottery, and a unique bronze medallion. The medallion depicted Emperor Caracalla's visit to Pergamum in the year 214, hinting that the family may have originated in Asia Minor. This was the first time a Bulgarian farmer had stumbled upon such an extraordinary Roman-era site. Some of the limestone found in the graves seems to have originated from a quarry near Nicopolis at Istrum, a Roman and early Byzantine settlement established by Emperor Trajan in the early 2nd century. This unique characteristic, along with other clues, leads me to believe that the individuals buried here may have connections to the area of Nicopolis ad Istrum, stated Kalin Chakarov, an archaeologist affiliated with the Veliko Tarnovo Regional History Museum, in an email to Live Science. Chakarov also believes that the discovery is as sad as it is amazing. His theory is very simple. The Bulgarian farmer had stumbled upon parents who had to bury their very young child, and they chose his grave to be their last resting place too. Chakarov, who worked on the excavation of the burials alongside his colleagues Nedko Elensky and Mihaila Tomanova, also mentioned that the medallion depicting the Roman Emperor Caracalla could suggest that the individuals interred in the graves originated from Asia Minor. This idea aligns with the historical fact that Nicopolis ad Istrum was predominantly established by settlers from that region. Chakarov expressed a desire to conduct DNA and other analyses to verify this hypothesis, noting that their museum lacks the necessary funds for such tests. Number 14. The mice plague. Imagine this. For months and long hours, you tend your fields, preparing for the harvest season. After working tirelessly, you know that one day you'll reap the reward of your hard work. The crops will sell, and the money will be good. And then, out of nowhere, rodents invade your fields. Sounds like a horror story, but unfortunately, this happened to thousands of farmers in Australia. All of them woke up to see rat infestations on their farms. The year 2021 was nothing short of a disaster for farmers in Australia. They were still grappling with the after effects of devastating droughts and raging wildfires when an unprecedented mouse plague descended upon them. For months on end, millions of mice invaded farms and homes alike, creating chaos and destruction everywhere they went. Farmers described the situation as unmanageable, with rodents infiltrating every corner, even making their way under clothing if anyone dared to stand still for even a second. Attempts to control this overwhelming infestation proved fruitless. Neither poisons, nor traps, nor even floods seemed capable of stemming the tide of the relentless mouse population. In a typical year, Australia has around 50 mice per hectare. However, during this mice outbreak, the numbers skyrocketed into the thousands, especially as these relentless creatures flocked to populated areas and farms in search of food. Some regions experienced infestations that numbered in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, with mice scurrying across every available surface. The farmers bore the brunt of this crisis, with many witnessing their crops utterly destroyed. Some lost as much as 80 to 100% of their harvests to these pesky rodents. As if that weren't enough, a surge in mouse bites led to numerous illnesses as dangerous diseases began to spread throughout the affected areas. Many farmers even contemplated abandoning their fields entirely. Fortunately, as the mouse population finally began to decrease, the government stepped in to provide relief to the affected communities, helping farmers piece their lives back together and restore their farms. The scenes from Australia were utterly bizarre. When the situation got out of control, the farmers took matters into their own hands. Many hardware stores experienced shortages of commercial mouse traps, prompting people to get creative with their solutions. One method involved filling buckets with water and applying vegetable oil around the rims, using peanut butter as bait. The mice found the peanut butter impossible to resist and slipped on the edges of the buckets, leading to their demise. Eventually, the situation was curbed, but unfortunately, this won't be the only time when Australian farmers experience this problem. You see, Australia has experienced this sort of invasion since the late 1700s, when the European colonists brought the house mice with them. In fact, Australia and China are the two most prominent examples of the mice plague in the world. Number 13. The smiling calf. Australian farmers Megan and Barry Coster, who had been raising cattle for over 20 years, tending to a herd of more than 700 cows, witnessed something extraordinary. Occasionally, a calf would be born with unique markings, giving it a distinct look. In 2023, the Coasters welcomed a particularly special calf into their herd, one adorned with 3 spots on its side that together formed a smiling face. They affectionately named this charming calf Happy. Barry told the American broadcasting company News, "We've come across a few number 7s and love hearts on the heads of calves, along with some odd markings, but we've never encountered anything resembling a smiley face before." When Mr. Coster stumbled upon the newborn calf during his morning farm rounds, he quickly sent a photo of it to his wife. At first, she was skeptical about the authenticity of the markings, thinking it might be a prank. "I couldn't believe it. I zoomed in initially to check if any of our workers had drawn extra lines or anything like that," she recalled. Once she verified the photo, Megan knew that Happy was a very special calf. Although they initially intended to keep Happy, the calf quickly became a sensation across Australia as news of its unusual appearance spread. Reporters and curious visitors flocked to the farm, causing the normally calm cows to become quite agitated. In light of this newfound attention, the couple decided to sell Happy for $10,000. They generously donated the entire amount to West Gippsland Hospital, where Happy's new owners embraced the calf, and it went on to become the beloved mascot of the International Farmers Exhibition held in Victoria in 2023. Number 12. The terrifying discovery. Meanwhile, in Texas, another farmer had his own bizarre encounter when he noticed an unusual mound on his property that seemed to have appeared out of nowhere overnight. Intrigued, he dug into the ground to investigate, only to be startled when a strange creature leaped out at him. This unsettling animal had a disproportionately large head, a face that resembled a strange mix of a calf and a dog, and a body covered in coarse black hair. It moved on all fours in an unsettlingly human-like manner. The farmer shared his discovery online, and his post quickly attracted a flood of responses, with many speculating that it could be the mythical chupacabra, a creature said to prey on domestic animals while being wary of humans. For those who haven't heard of this terrifying creature, you're in for a story. In 1975, an unsettling wave of livestock deaths swept through the small town of Mocha in Puerto Rico. The hush-hush whispers led to speculations about a creature known as El Vampiro de Mocha, or the Vampire of Mocha. Initially, locals suspected a satanic cult was behind the mysterious loss of animal lives. However, as more incidents occurred across the island, numerous farms reported the loss of their animals. Disturbingly, each of the deceased creatures had been bled dry, showing a series of small circular cuts on their bodies. The first attack, later linked to the legendary chupacabra, took place in March 1995. 8 sheep were found dead in Puerto Rico, each showing 3 puncture wounds in their chest areas and completely drained of blood. A few months later, in August, an eyewitness named Madeline Tolentino claimed to have seen the creature in Canovanas, a Puerto Rican town where as many as 150 farm animals and pets were reportedly killed. Soon enough, all suspicion regarding the satanic cult went away, leading the farmers to believe that a dog-like creature was causing harm to their livestock. Since then, many sightings of the chupacabra have been reported by Texan farmers, yet only a few of them hold any ground. Number 11. The Octopus Piglet. Over in Chongqing, China, a farmer named Tang Yongshu experienced a remarkable event on his farm when one of his pigs gave birth to an unusual piglet with 4 extra legs. According to the farmer, he wasn't home when the unusual piglet was born. When he returned, his wife told him that a 6-legged monster was born on the farm. When Tang did his inspection, he was pleasantly surprised. He dubbed it the octopus because the additional limbs resembled tentacles. At first, he was worried the piglet wouldn't survive, but as time passed, it thrived alongside its siblings. Realizing that the piglet was going to make it, Tang consulted a veterinarian who diagnosed it with a condition known as polymelia. While surgery was recommended to remove the extra limbs, Tang decided to care for the piglet with patience and love instead. Number 10. Canadian farmer takes a lucky hike. In a different part of the world, Canadian farmer John DeGroot achieved a lifelong dream when he discovered a peculiar object buried in the ground during a hike in 2020. This large, protruding bone was later identified by paleontologists as belonging to a previously unknown species of Tyrannosaurus. The fearsome creature measured over 12 meters in length and weighed more than 2 tons. This discovery marks the first new species of tyrannosaur identified in Canada in half a century, and stands out as one of the oldest tyrannosaur species ever found in North America. Researchers estimate that Thanatothuristes digrutorum roamed the landscape around 2.5 million years before its well-known relative, Tyrannosaurus rex. This formidable predator was stalking what is now North America approximately 79.5 million years ago. As an adult, it could grow between 26 and 30 feet long and weigh over 2 tons, while Tyrannosaurus rex could reach about 40 feet in length. The name Thanatothuristes combines the Greek god of death, Thanatos, with Thuristes, which means one who reaps or harvests. The latter part of the name pays tribute to DeGroot. The jawbone was an absolutely stunning find. We recognized it was something special because the fossilized teeth were so clearly visible, DeGroot remarked. Now, that is one hike to remember. Number 9. Down the rabbit hole. Back in 2017, a Birmingham-based farmer was doing his fair share of work when he noticed unusual holes in his fields. Intrigued, the farmer looked inside and instantly knew that the cavity leads to some mysterious place. His finding prompted a photographer to access the mysterious so-called tunnel. An English photographer named Michael Scott felt like he had stepped into a scene from Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland while wandering through farm fields. He noticed a rabbit hole and couldn't resist the urge to explore it. Unlike Alice, however, he didn't fall into a fantastical world, but instead found a Templar cave. At first, Michael had no clue about its historical significance, so he reported his find to scientists. To his surprise, he learned that archaeologists had been aware of this site for years, but kept it under wraps to prevent unwanted attention from farmers and the general public. This cave, part of a network of tunnels, was built 700 years ago by the Knights Templar. Founded in 1119 by knights led by Hugues de Payens after the First Crusade, the Templars aimed to protect pilgrims heading to the Holy Land. Unfortunately, by the early 14th century, the order faced arrests, executions, and was ultimately dissolved in 1312, sparking tales of the Templars fleeing with the Holy Grail and hiding in caves. Some folks even believe their followers are still holding secret meetings today. In another theory, apparently, the caves are being used for black magic rites. There's little evidence for this theory, but people on the internet seemed convinced. Michael Scott believes that caves are just a historical site now. His reports tell us that the place underground is quite cramped, so it would be very difficult for a group or a cult to hold secret meetings down there. In his own words, "I had to crouch down, and once I was in it was completely silent. There were a few spiders in there, but that was it. It was raining, so the slope down was quite sludgy, but inside the cave was bone dry." At the same time, there was something sinister happening in the caves in the past. This is why, in 2012, the team of archaeologists had taken the decision to seal them off. According to some locals, their area had seen a surge of some unusual findings: dolls with needles, parchments with unusual words on them, and some vials of blood. While these stories are based on rumors and speculations, the archaeologists must have witnessed horrifying. Why else would they not excavate something so historically important? It definitely makes us wonder. Number 8. The Bullied Chick. Fast forward to 2023, when a Queensland farmer named Jess Leeming noticed her chicks were picking on one of their own. Upon closer inspection, she was stunned to discover that the bullied chick had 4 legs instead of the usual 2. Shocked by this unusual sight, Jess took the chick to a veterinarian who diagnosed it with polymelia, a rare congenital defect. While this condition doesn't typically threaten a chicken's survival, it can lead to social challenges since other chickens often shun those with unusual traits, and in some cases, they might even peck them to death. After discovering a serious wound on the chick's spine, Jess decided to separate it from the flock and eventually found it a safer home without other chickens. Number 7. The Hefty Mistake. Sometimes military exercises lead to unexpected surprises. In Wiltshire, England, farmer Andrew Snook found a large crater over 1.5 meters wide in his field during one such exercise. Inside the crater was a shell that had been mistakenly fired from an AS-90 artillery piece during drills on Salisbury Plain. Due to a miscalculation, the shell landed 8 kilometers away from its intended target, having soared over the busy A342 road and a nearby village before crashing just 250 meters from the Paddington-Penzance railway line, which sees thousands of passengers each day. Luckily, the shell caused no injuries, and Andrew received compensation for the damage. The spokesperson revealed that the officer in charge of ensuring the safe use of the range has apologized to the landowner. They also mentioned that local residents would be kept in the loop and that, if deemed appropriate, additional safety measures might be implemented. The safety of our personnel and the general public is our top priority during all training exercises, the spokesperson stated. Salisbury Plain holds the title of the UK military's largest training area, with live firing occurring on average 340 days each year. Number 6. The heartbreaking discovery. In 2011, a farmer in China faced a heartbreaking situation when his entire watermelon crop was intentionally destroyed. After tending to over 3,500 watermelons, he was devastated to find that every single one had been meticulously sliced open as if done with a sickle or knife. Growing watermelons requires a lot of hard work, including land preparation, irrigation, and pest management. So this act of sabotage was not only demoralizing, but also resulted in a significant financial hit. Although he reported the crime to the police, the culprits were never found. Despite this setback, he continued with his farming endeavors. Later, this phenomenon became a widespread problem in China, as farmers witnessed their watermelons exploding across the field. The visual itself was unsettling, and as you can imagine, the clips of exploding watermelons became viral on the internet too. It was then discovered that the explosion was the result of over-application of growth chemicals in the field. Farmers usually use these cheap and dangerous methods for quick harvestation. The more fruit they produce, the more money they can earn. Yet their methods took the best of their hard work. Number 5. Another spider discovery. Australian farmers often encounter interesting wildlife, but Patrick Hutton was taken aback when he lifted a concrete slab and discovered a large group of huntsman spiders underneath. Unlike most spiders that weave webs, huntsmen are nomadic and only stay in one spot during mating season. These spiders, which can grow up to 15 centimeters in size, are common in Australia. Patrick, eager to share this surprising find, captured footage of the spiders to showcase the unique experiences that Australian farmers often face. Number 4. Tunnel beneath the stones. In Alton, Illinois, farmer Gary and his wife bought a house built in the 1890s and soon noticed that the path leading to their home was sinking. While working on repairs, Gary uncovered a tunnel beneath the stones. This underground passage was approximately 3 meters high and 18 meters long. Although its exact purpose remains unclear, it could have served as a storage space or even been part of the Underground Railroad. Intrigued, Gary contacted the local historical society and discovered that similar tunnels existed in the area. He took the time to clean and restore the tunnel, hoping to eventually open it to visitors. Number 3. The Corn House. In 2017, a Chinese farmer named Lu Hongkai captured everyone's attention when he constructed a complex entirely from corn cobs. Within just 2 weeks, he built a traditional Chinese farmhouse, a fence, a water wheel, and a barn using over 30,000 corn cobs. After creating a previous corn structure that gained media recognition, he teamed up with a designer for this ambitious project. While the entire endeavor cost him about 10,000 yen, which is roughly 1,400 United States dollars, Lu believes that this unique complex was a worthwhile investment. And well, who are we to judge someone's masterpiece? Number 2. The missing calf. When a farmer's livestock goes missing, it can be devastating, especially when it's a young animal. This was the case for British farmer Jonathan Crump, who had recently purchased a rare Gloucester cow for his cheese-making venture. He was overjoyed when the cow gave birth, only to be dismayed when her calf vanished. Belovedly named Sinky, the animal had quickly grown close to Crump and his children. So, when Sinky disappeared, they were all left heartbroken. After an unsuccessful search, Jonathan feared that wild animals had taken it, but he persisted. When another round of search didn't yield any results, Crump was sure that Sinky was dead. Then, 9 days later, 2 strangers discovered the calf stuck in a meadow pit. Jonathan was relieved to quickly retrieve the dehydrated but otherwise healthy calf, expressing his gratitude to the 2 men, who were homeless, by gifting them fresh cheese, milk, and other goodies. Number 1. Turkish farmer's amazing discovery. Lastly, in 2023, a Turkish farmer made a remarkable find when he uncovered an ancient slab inscribed with hieroglyphs. Archaeologists determined that the writing was in Luwian, an ancient Indo-European language that originated in Turkey. The inscription detailed a victory over the legendary King Midas of Phrygia in the 7th century BC. The slab included the name of King Harappo from a previously unknown kingdom, shedding light on a lost civilization believed to have thrived between the 9th and 7th centuries BC. This kingdom likely had its capital at the site of Turkmen Karahoyuk, suggesting that there may be even more artifacts from this mysterious civilization waiting to be discovered. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.